What is going on? Welcome to the DGD podcast. As always, the self-proclaimed NC DGD himself, Robert Reynolds, along with Juan Daniels and Caleb the Great KTG. Guys, welcome back. Happy Friday. Before we start on the elephant in the room, I want to go and ask everybody in the brigade. I hope you're having a great day. Elite start to your Friday, like Rude says in the brigade itself. Hashtag One Fan Club. Get it moving. Now let's talk ball, guys. And with that being said, a little bit of a roll call. The 6033 DGD is in the house as well. Juan, how are you doing?
My man, Patrick.
There it is. And with the hashtag Juan Fan Club. Juan, how are you doing, sir?
Good. Hey, it's Friday, man. I can't complain. Cannot
There
complain.
you go. If you're a Florida Gator fan, you will find anything to complain about. We'll talk about that later. We will talk about that later. Caleb, how are you doing, my man?
Man, I can't complain one bit, man. It's a good Friday. Woke up feeling rejuvenated, ready to go, man. I'm glad to be here.
My man said he's feeling faded and X-rated. Oh, boy. Anyways, with that being said, if you're not familiar and you're living under a rock, there was a specific video that Georgia football social media dropped yesterday. And with that being said, it also involved one of our own. I think Georgia football is starting to see the hashtag Juan Fan Club become a thing, because the video yesterday was a throwback to '96, and none other than Juan Daniels was in that video. Now, for some reason, everybody wants to sit there and show Hines Ward flipping into the end zone, and that was cool and all. But let's be honest, what set up that reverse, right? That was your boy down below, Juan Daniels, right? People don't sleep on Juan Daniels. Still top 10 in my book right there with in the stat books. Juan, so I want to ask you real fast. Obviously, for me, I was younger. Me, Caleb, and maybe the audience as well, but a little bit younger. No slouch here, no slight here to the age or anything. Explain to us. I want to hear your personal experience of that game. What went through? When you look back and you saw that, did anything flash back in your head?
Oh yeah, first and foremost, I mean that was the start of a tough season. We were already 0-2. We lost to Southern Miss at home. And that was, Donovan's first year. Then we turned around and we lost to South Carolina at South Carolina. So we were, we were, in peril, to be honest with you. And Texas Tech came in. They had a guy, Brian Hansberg, who was a great running back. I don't know if he went on to the league or not. But so on that drive going down there, we had to convert a fourth down catch. So they threw me a corner route, and I barely got 1 foot in. So that kept the drive alive. And then Bobo just kind of threw that little Hail Mary. And there was a guy draped all over me. And fortunately, I was able to come up with that. And so it was 13-12. We needed that 2-point conversion. We got it, which was great because they came down at the end and attempted a field goal, and they almost made it. So had we not gotten that 2-point conversion, we lose that game again. We would have been 0-3. It was raining. It was absolutely crazy. But to see the fans – going crazy, jumping up and down. And as a receiver, every guy that plays receiver, or even if you're backyard football, you always want to have that game-winning catch. And so I was fortunate enough to be on the end of that.
Look at that. Now, with that being said, in the chat, guys, I posted there is a link to that specific video. It's the Georgia Football Twitter account. So if you feel free, if you're listening to this now, if you're listening to the podcast, just go to Twitter, go to search Georgia Football, and you'll find it. But nonetheless, and as Ruth said, he's number one in our hearts, talking to Patrick. Fair point, which is why we have the hashtag Juan Fan Club going in the brigade. Caleb, I know you saw it. What did you think, if you had any thoughts about that? For me, I know before I'm gonna let you speak, but for me, I think a lot of it was Larry Munson, just hearing that scratchy voice, man. It was just something that's like, it's just something about it.
Yeah, man. I actually that was a crazy sequence, but I actually watched the '96 Auburn and Georgia game the other night. Me and my buddy, we didn't have anything to do, so we were just watching old games. We started with the national championship this year, went to the 07 blackout, then we went to the 99 Outback Bowl. Whenever we played Drew Brees, and then we went back to the '96 Auburn game, and I was watching Juan. I was like, dude, I do a podcast with him sometimes. I was like, bro, hashtag Juan fan club right here, baby. But just to see you in action and to know you a tad bit personally, man, it's awesome, dude. And you're a genuine person, so to see you rock out on the ball field, bro, it just brought joy to my heart, man. I don't know if I can say it on here, but I drank a beer for you after a few of those catches, man. So.
I appreciate it, man.
We're not one to bash away from any kind of potent potables per se here on the show, guys.
Right.
Some apple juice may have been consumed.
Yeah, apple juice. That's what it was.
Excuse me. But yeah, so as we, obviously listen, I was sitting there, I saw that they posted it, right? So I went to check it out. I saw the Throwback Thursday hashtag, and it's 96, and I was watching it, and you hear Munson talking, and then you're watching it, Bobo steps back, and he's like, Juan Daniels. I'm like, wait, hold on, what? And then I was like, oh, shit, okay. And then obviously that everybody wants to focus on the Heinz Ward somersault, because the quote that they used was Munson's talking about the somersault, right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna wait for a somersault, and then they show the precursor in my head. I needed to post it out. I think I did, actually. I don't even remember. And Patrick over here says he watched you live when you were in high school. Interesting. Caleb, you also have a compliment on the mailman hat. So Savannah's saying
that hat,
nice
I love
mailman
it, man. That hat is awesome.
Appreciate y'all.
When you
It
got
took me a while
to
to find it.
Oh, I believe it. I don't think the USPS really appreciates it either, but we don't care about what their feelings are right now.
I'm gonna tell them one thing.
We have the
man.
mailman hat.
If the post office tries to cancel me, it's hard to cancel somebody that don't give a dang. So
right. That's what I'm talking about.
So we're basically introducing a little bit of anarchy. I like it.
My man.
I like it.
Love it.
So we had that right there. Listen, folks, before we jump into Arch Manning, because I know most everybody's listening, you've been dying to hear about the reaction to Arch Manning. Let's just say this right now. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing. Not yet. But there's something coming down the tracks, and it's regarding the show. So stay tuned. When things are done, if and when they get done, you will be the first to know. But stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to give no hints or nothing like that. But hopefully you like the show and you like what you see. That's all I'm going to say. With that being said, Caleb, Juan, let's jump into it. Arch Manning. Yesterday commits to Texas. Social media goes into a frenzy. You look at Kevin Durant even commented on it, I think, to Twitter or whatever. It's literally Arch's sole tweet that he's ever posted, right? Committed to Texas or whatever. So initial knee-jerk reaction, obviously it stings for Georgia, right? But now that it's been 24 hours roughly since things, have settled, right? Given some time to settle. Caleb, since you're I'm going to let you start. What were your initial thoughts, and what are your thoughts at now regarding the Arch situation?
Initial thoughts, I wasn't really surprised. I kind of had a feeling that's where he was going to commit. But, I mean, and it's like you said earlier, I was talking about it obviously over at my place, and you said I had a pretty good outlook on it. Commitments aren't set in stone. I still think Georgia's in it. I think it's a long shot. I still think Georgia's in it. You never know. He may have – a lot of these big-time recruits will commit, so people will leave them alone so they can enjoy kind of their last summer with their bros, their senior year of high school. So, and Quinn Ewers still has a chance to go off. So I think if Quinn Ewers goes off, Georgia still has an outside shot. I do think he's going to enroll in Texas, honestly, but I wouldn't sleep on it just yet. I wouldn't put it to bed like Nolan Smith did my boy Bryce Young. So, it's a pretty interesting thing to still follow. Obviously, everybody thinks he's 100% Longhorn. I'm not 100% sold on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he enrolls. But the initial thought didn't shock me.
You talk about, listen, there's still a long way to go till signing day, right? Juan, I'm going to let you go, but I want to throw this in here before I let you speak on this. But keep in mind today's world of college athletics. Nothing's ever set in stone anymore, especially with the fluidity that is college athletics today. when you heard the news, what did you say, or what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was a little shocked, and that's only because on paper, it makes more sense for him to go to Georgia. But then when you're adding in the NIL, you're adding in all of those factors. You're adding in Sarkisian. Sarkisian he's a quarterback guy. He puts people in the league. You know, there hadn't been a whole lot on Monken, and historically Georgia quarterbacks have not gone into the draft except for Matthew Stafford. Before Matthew Stafford, we're really we're searching to try to figure it out. So you do what's best for you. However, like Caleb said, it's we're not necessarily out of it, but and then the other thing too, I look at Caleb's hat. We still got the mailman, and he delivered. Georgia has a system. They have a way of going about things. Kirby knows what he's doing. Obviously, we don't, because we were calling for Stetson's head for the whole season. However, Kirby had a system. He had something that he was doing in particular. So, you just have to trust in the coaching staffs. I don't look at it as a blow, because if we don't get Arch Manning, we're going to get somebody that's going to be able to come in there and plug in and make things happen. Not to mention, too, I don't care who you have at quarterback. If you have Oscar Delp, you've got, what's Brock Bowers, and then you've got the other tight ends. I could get in there left-handed and be a successful Georgia quarterback. So again, just trusting in the process.
As our 6033 DGD says, KTG knows what's up. Manning to Texas just doesn't have a good ring to it.
I wanted to make a quick point real quick. I was reading an article the other day, and it was, I want to say Brooks Austin wrote it, but I'm not 100% sure. But he was making a point. People look at Georgia and they're, smash mouth football, like to run the ball. But do you know, in the first half of games this year, Georgia threw the ball 55% of the time? They didn't have to run the ball in the second half. They were up by 30. In the first half, Georgia threw the ball 55% of the time.
Wow.
I don't think a lot of people notice or realize that, but that's a true stat. I went and did my research.
That's awesome.
You know what else is awesome?
I think that narrative is a little blurred lines.
Mm-hmm. I'm more shocked that Caleb actually did research.
I know everything. I just had to check that one.
Right.
Oh, okay. So it was confirmation. It was actually doing your research. Okay. So my statement just got voided. One, just let you know. I'm not shocked at this point. Nonetheless, though, right? So obviously, it stings for Georgia, right? But it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to bash a kid for making a decision for not picking Georgia. Can't do that. The thing about it is, Georgia did not need Arch as much as Texas needed Arch. I think Texas needed Arch far more than, Georgia for sure. But let's be honest, Arch's goal, you can pretty much bet on this. Go to somewhere, play for 3 years, go to the NFL, have a career, right? I think that's just the way the entire Manning family does business. But at the same time, I understand I guess you could say the ideology of going to Texas, right? The offense shows flashes of potential with what Sarkisian's mind can do, right? What better way to create your own legacy, right? Outside of your already famous legacy, but just having your last name, than going somewhere and literally bringing them back, reviving the program, right? Bringing them back. That's a lot bigger than going somewhere like a Georgia that's already set up to win, and you just crank the car up and drive it. You're basically building your car from scratch and then trying to drive it, rather than, right, by going to a Lambo dealership, turn the key, drive off the lot. It's a lot different, and I think it kind of makes it seems to make sense if you're a Manning, right? Do big things, right? It might cost them a championship. I'm not saying that they can't or they won't, but definitely it's interesting because you look at what Texas is about to be doing. Eventually, at some point, at least if Arch stays there for his entirety of his career, right, they're coming to the SEC. How will Texas fare against your opponents, whoever you play, however they format it and schedule it? Mm-hmm. because Texas plays Alabama week 2, right? But it's going to be a lot different when you have Alabama in week 2, and then you go around in the next week, you're playing LSU or Florida or Arkansas, right? Because Texas got beat by Arkansas last year. Keep that in mind. It's not simple, right? I'm not knocking anybody else, but until you play an SEC schedule, whether it's East or West, I don't care. You can't say anything because people look, like I said, Texas and Alabama, right? They have that week 2 game. There you go, right? Oregon has us week 1. There you go. But then turn around and have the same SEC schedule, right? SEC may be down in regards to the East, right? But I guarantee you it's still the top to bottom depth of the SEC is still more rigorous than every other conference. Maybe you could try to argue the Big Ten, but just for now, it's definitely not a Big 12. It's definitely not a Pac 12, right? It's on a different level. So, I think he'll fit it. I think he'll do good things in that offense because Syracuse's offense is always fun. How, what happened there, though, right? So you have him going to Texas. Texas needed that because there's a lot of pieces outside of Arch Manning that could come to your school, right? And you might have commits. Texas will probably get several commits based off of that decision, right? It's a huge domino. However, if you're a Georgia fan, do not be alarmed. Kirby Smart has shown you that regardless of the last name of Manning, you will recruit in the top 5. No questions asked. Just because you don't get that, right? I think the question there comes, how hard do we push for a 23 quarterback? Or do we push in our chips on a 24 kid? Right? If I'm looking at this standpoint right here, if I'm a Georgia fan, the fact that you didn't get Arch in this moment kind of gives you a little bit of a sigh of relief that there's a chance that you could probably still see Carson, Brock, and Gunner all stay together after the season ends, depending on what happens after, in the 23 cycle with quarterbacks. I would say that would be something that you would definitely want to take a look out for because we know Stetson's going to be gone after this, right? After that, there's no question. Either it's going to be Carson, it's going to be Brock, it's going to be Gunner, especially if we don't land a 23 kid, right? So with that being said, if you're a Georgia fan, there's no need to panic because the quarterback room is not bare. It is not. Okay, it's not. Are they inexperienced? Sure. You have Stetson Bennett, leading the charge, which some people might tell you that's not good. I think the 6033 DGD said it best. Has a ring to it, doesn't it? Explain to me why that's not a good thing if I'm Georgia.
Right.
Because the way I look at it is that's multiple quarterbacks to give you a possibility or opportunity to win games. Right? So if you're a Georgia fan, listen, if you're worried about people outside of Arch Manning, right, you're in good hands. It's Kirby Smart. In Kirby, we trust. That should be the 4-word motto for anything recruiting Georgia football. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, with that being said, the brigade, we're going to read some comments here. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on Arch Manning. Is it the end of the world for Georgia? Let us know, right? Make sure to like and subscribe as well, by the way, too. The 63 DGD says the quarterback room in Athens, Georgia is just fine with or without Arch. Does any one of y'all care to elaborate further on said comment?
You're definitely going to have those guys push each other. What Stetson's going to have to do this year is really, really step up because he have a great defense, and I mean a great defense, and so he didn't have to do much. It was almost like he was the chauffeur of college football. But guess what? I mean, Stetson did. He stepped up from the year before where he really struggled. He came back. He was confident, and there's no reason that he shouldn't still be confident. And then guess what also, too, is Georgia has enough offensive power that if we need to get into a track meet with another Alabama or somebody else, we can do it. Whereas 2 years ago, we could not get into a track meet with Alabama. We just did not have, anytime you're thinking of Stetson Bennett throwing the ball 30 or more times, we're in trouble. Whereas last year, you know what, he was able to do that.
Caleb, do you have any other thing on that, my man?
No, I think y'all nailed it on the head, man. I think y'all both got pretty good outlooks on the quarterback situation. I was never worried. Stetson's been my guy. I just like his swag. I like his mentality. He don't care. I don't care. So I feel like, Stetson's got he's from South Georgia, just like I am, man. This mentality down here is a little different. We just don't give a rat's doo-doo about anything. So just the way he carries himself, the way he just blocks out all the hate, I got nothing but respect for that, man. I love that dude. So
there you go. We're going to read some comments here from the brigade. Rude says that he agrees, said this before, if you grow up among legends, talking about Arch Manning, choosing Texas here. If you grow up among legends, you tend to want to cement your own legacy, and Texas is no doubt the bigger challenge. I completely agree with that, right? Georgia, like I said, Brooks also says it best, it's a turnkey operation. You crank that car up and you drive off the lot. Texas, you're going to have to rebuild that thing. They say they're back. They're not back. Okay, so let's just be honest here. Okay,
the difference is you would think if he wants to cement a legacy, I would have chosen Georgia, because guess what? Peyton and Eli were not able to bring home a national championship. I really just don't feel like Texas is going to be the team that you're going to bring home a national championship. Even from a recruiting standpoint, yeah, he's going to get some recruits, but you got somebody across the way at Texas A&M that's paying guys all over the place. They got an NIL pot that's just out of this world. So you're competing with Texas A&M trying to get those players, and then you've got Texas Tech and all that. It's going to be a struggle. Yeah, I mean, and one man they got they got their guy, but he's just not going to bring in everybody when it actually comes to that NIL money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my thing is and I look at it this way, like, the argument, right? Like, because even at Newman High School down there in Louisiana, no Manning has won a state title in high school. He's trying to push for that, right? So it was kind of, to your point, it's kind of interesting, because you wonder what the end goal is for him and what his thought process is, right? Because let's be honest, this recruitment was very 80s style in today's world, right? Very close vested. You didn't hear nothing out of it. If you did, you can't believe it, right? You can't believe it. But, now that things are settled, right, now we're going to see he may have bitten off more than he can chew. Not saying that he can't do this, so I'm not bashing him. Please don't take that the wrong way. But he's got his work cut out for him. And it starts with recruiting better on defense and offensively, right, line-wise, right, in the trenches, right? Because when you join the SEC, if you don't win in the trenches, you're not a good SEC program. You're not a good program, especially in the conference. So I think they're trying to make progress there, and I think Arch could kind of be that springboard for Texas, like I said, that they needed, right? And Roots also says, he don't like always going all in and missing on big players in general, right? You don't want to strike out, but at the same time, he doesn't feel missing on Arch is the end of our recruiting, and it's not. It's not. Georgia had a lot of momentum, right, coming in recently, a flurry of commits, right? C.J. Allen, right? A.J. Harris. Right? Since we haven't had our show last time, A.J. Harris, Woodring, the punter, or special teams, I should say, specialist, and then C.J. Allen. That's three right there in a matter of a few days, right? So when you lose out on Arch, right, and you also lose out on Brandon Ennis, which we never really had a shot, in my opinion, anyway, right? You start to see dominoes fall, right? I'm telling you right now, Kirby Smart is a momentum recruiter. You can tell me anything to try and sway my mind, and it won't work. I guarantee you it will not work. So save your breath trying to tell me that Kirby is not a momentum recruiter, because Ohio State, 3 days, 3 elite receivers back to back to back. Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, Noah Rogers up here in Roseville. You're not telling me that Kirby saw that momentum swing, because that's a big time swing, and say, hey, I want my name in this spot too. Let's go. Oh, we ain't got momentum? Okay. Boop, C.J. Allen. Boop, A.J. Harris. Right? Like, Kirby knows. Juan, you played with him. I guarantee you know. He just ain't going to admit it.
Right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, in general, recruiting is all momentum feels well, for the most part anyway. I'm not going to say it 100% of the way, but there's a lot of momentum recruiting. It's not just in Georgia, but Georgia definitely benefits from momentum recruiting. I'm just going to leave it at there. But we're talking about Arch, right? And what comes next for Georgia, right? And as Mike Dudley in the comments in the brigade, watch out for Kason Wiseman in the 23 class, right? So this leaves the argument: does Georgia, do they turn the table and start pushing their hand for a 23 kid, right? You look at this at this point, right? A lot of the top tier names have basically either committed or very close to committing, and it seems like Georgia might be out of the race. The one thing benefiting Georgia, if we were to try to go for 23 quarterback, it's a deep class. It's different. There's levels to it, but Georgia can still benefit from getting a really good quarterback. It might not be your Arch, your Nico, right? Your Jaden Rashada, or your Dante Moore, right? It might not be one of those guys, but you can still, possibly get a quarterback if you so choose to. Now you're Casey Wiseman like Michael. You have Dylan Lonergan, I would expect. Uh, I mean, he's right there in Georgia too, right? But then
Yeah.
you
You
also
also have a guy. There's a guy at Clark Central. His name is Lucian Anderson. Watch out for him. He actually was at the camp that I went up to, and I saw him. The ball's just popping off of his hands. He already has an offer from FAU, but he's another guy. His dad and I played. We were both receivers at Georgia, so he's a legacy guy, and he wants to be at Georgia. And it was a lot of talk, when I was with him, to say, hey, everybody's waiting on the Arch Manning sweepstakes. So now that the Arch Manning sweepstakes are gone, let's move on. Next man up.
Georgia could have hurt themselves by, right, just focusing and like putting all the eggs in the basket and striking out, right? But it's Georgia. There's the state of Georgia. Y'all both are in Georgia. Y'all know this. The 23 class, just the 23 class. I'm not even going into 2024, 2025 because I could go on and on. We could do our own show about recruiting in Georgia. I guarantee it. Neither here nor there. In the 23 class alone, there's several quarterbacks just there that they may not have the swing of your Arch Manning, but if at least a quality depth piece while you go after an elite 24 kid. Because I think with Arch, in my opinion, Arch Manning going to Texas obviously at this moment leads me to believe that Kirby will go all in on another 24 quarterback. And I think you could, I mean, there's several kids there, but the one that I'm interested to see if they really push for, Jaden Davis out of Charlotte up here at Providence Day, because that dude is a fucking baller. Mark my words, wherever he goes, he will be absolutely dominant. Kid can sling it, it comes off his hands. It's just nasty. And the kid's got good vision for a high school upcoming senior. The kid will absolutely be great wherever he goes, in my opinion. Obviously, it's a 2024 kid, so there's still some time there. But watch Georgia push hard on him because Dylan Raiola is committed to Ohio State. And I don't necessarily know that he will decommit from there. Look at what he has to throw to. If you're a quarterback and you want to go to the league, right? Ohio State has had a shitty track record with pushing quarterbacks and having success in the NFL. But by God, what are they doing in Columbus? Look at what they are building for a quarterback to come in, and that's a turnkey operation. By God.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, even going back to Troy Smith, my goodness, he runs up against a Florida defense, and I think he had like 36 total yards in offense. But again, they're pushing him out. They're pushing him out. They're giving him an opportunity. And then what you do with it after that, I mean, that's just kind of up to you.
So obviously, looking at it right here, not only, like I said, we've talked a lot about quarterbacks, right? Because we know how important quarterbacks can be for recruiting classes, right? But Georgia's not done, right? Let's be honest here, because you have the month of July, which I'm expecting literal fireworks, and I'm not talking about the 4th, baby. I'm talking about the whole month of June. There are several big time targets with already committed dates, but I guarantee you there's going to be several, maybe even unexpected commitments pop up in July, right? You're hearing a lot of talk. I want to say Raquise McElderry mentioned everybody's committing July 5th. There's a reason. You're not going to do it on July 4th, but by God, afterwards, fireworks are still going to keep ringing. That's all I'm going to say. You got, I want to say Sadir Mitchell, I think is expected to commit July 2nd. Jamal Jarrett, right, another true nose tackle here out of Greensboro, expected to commit on the 19th. And like I said, the month of July is known for fireworks, and I'm not talking about just Independence Day, because recruiting pops off, especially in the world of college football today. So, with that being said, and I'm gonna let y'all elaborate more if y'all would like. Do not. It is not time to ring. It is not time to sound the alarm and panic, because you might not get a quarterback this class depending on how things play out. But I'm telling you right now, Mike says it best. He's calling 5 to 7 commits this July alone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now listen, we talked about momentum recruiting. Look at what Clemson has just did. Clemson just popped off in the month of June and popped like 10 or 11 commits, and they're 4 stars and shit like that. And most of them come out of Georgia. I guarantee you, Kirby Smart will let a ton of commits commit if they'd like to. There's a reason why you saw all these official visits in June before the season starts. I'm just leaving it there. Caleb, would you like to pontificate further?
I mean, it's like you said, he's a momentum recruiter. We all know it. I mean, it's like it's funny to me. I've noticed this for the past 6 years. He's recruited. Every time some bad news or what we think is bad news happens, he pops you with a big time recruit. So I agree with everything you said there, and I'm with Michael Dudley, man. I think we're gonna get 5 to 7. I think big names too. So I'm ready to see the fireworks. And like you said, I ain't talking about the 4th of July, man. It's gonna be fine. I don't think nobody should gloom and doom over Arch Manning. Just watch out, because the ones that want to be a dog will be a dog, and they're gonna win some rings too.
Absolutely. As the Taylor report, Eric Kopp's in the brigade, I think for maybe the first time. So if it is your first time, boss man, welcome to the brigade. Welcome to the show. Hey, make sure to like and subscribe as well while you're in there. For anybody new watching, even after this show goes off live, make sure to like and let us know in the comments too what you think as well. We'll always read them and try to reply back as well. Juan, in July, what are you looking forward to the most if you're a Georgia Bulldogs fan?
Justice Haynes. And I tell you what, having an opportunity to see him up close and personal, he's a monster. And his work ethic, he's a businessman as a high schooler. I'm telling you, it's crazy to see his focus. He just got to Buford, and he's already considered one of their leaders after being at Blessed Trinity for so long. The other thing I love about him too is he's going to get some rest. Buford does a great job of rotating backs. I mean, and so they're going to have like 3-4 backs that they're going to rotate. He's going to get his, but when he gets up to Georgia, which I know he's going to be at Georgia, he's not be beat up. He's not going to be all mangled and mashed up. He's going to be in some great shape. And I'm telling you, I think once we hit that one, he's another legacy guy. It's going to be awesome.
No, I mean, listen. Obviously, with the Taylor report talking about the Hobno Boot legacy, that is absolutely the case. Now, I will say this: when you go to Buford, and Juan, you're all familiar with it. I'm telling you right now, that is some of the best football you're going to play in the state. So from him going to Blessed, where he's probably going to get his brakes ran off, and there will be no brake pads left, you're preserving that monster, like you said, for college. And listen, keep in mind he's also a damn good baseball player. But my logic is this: if you wanted to focus on baseball, would it matter if you went to Buford? Because MLB is now. My question is, Buford athletics, Juan. If you're at Blessed Trinity and you wanted to test the MLB, how much of a difference would it be from an MLB perspective going from Blessed Trinity to Buford? Because I feel like MLB scouts will find you regardless of where you are.
Well, they're gonna find you. They're gonna find you, but Buford is the place to be. So Buford just had the number 3 pitcher in the nation. He was there at one point in time, like last year. Buford was the number 1 team in the nation before they got knocked off. They just went on another playoff run. So you had scouts all over. Like T. Martin's son, Caden Martin, played on the team. So you've got an outstanding baseball tradition at Buford. Joey Bart, who's now doing great things with the San Francisco Giants, played there. So if he really wants that exposure, Buford football, Buford baseball, that's going to be the place to be.
I still think ultimately you have to worry about the MLB if you're any college sport. But the thing about it is, in the days of NIL, I feel like if you go to Georgia, if they needed to, they could toss out more than what the minor league system would be, right?
Yeah.
But I think it all depends on where he gets drafted where he gets drafted in the MLB draft. But he wouldn't be able to get drafted. Caleb's a MLB. I don't know if he knows the draft like that. I think you have to be a senior to get drafted, if I'm not mistaken. So, we would wait to see what happens next year. But maybe he commits and signs, and then you hope and pray, right?
Yeah.
Y'all remember we almost lost Terry Godwin the same way. Terry Godwin was an outstanding baseball player, and he got drafted, but he got drafted lower. But they said he was an outstanding third baseman. And I remember reading up on Terry Godwin and being worried we wasn't going to land him too. But I think Justice's heart's in football, so I think
yeah.
I mean, he's got the legacy. Obviously, listen. I mean, Veron's legacy I think is etched in Georgia history and lore, right? Doesn't mean that Justice couldn't do the same here or wherever he chooses to go, right? Now, we talked about Justice, right? And Juan has that familiarity now that he's at Buford, right? And talk about that college D1 machine, my God. Listen, there's other names though, right? I think you look at Tyler Williams is another name that just recently tweeted out, "Stay tuned," and this was after the wide receiver commits. So my thought was, oh boy, right? C.J. Allen, just like maybe within the hour, I think we're not done, right? With the Dogs. So these kids letting you know, hey, it's about to pop off. So hold on because it's coming. Okay, I'm just letting you know right there. Taylor Report says Justice Haynes and Scott Howard will create another Georgia football moment in history. Just wait. What do you think? Damn, Joe. That's painful.
The bad thing is I probably got the worst internet out of everybody. That's
He does. He does.
I just got it set up, man. I've had to rig my internet up for 2 years to get it this good. But I appreciate that because that makes me feel good.
Yeah, let us know what you got, Caleb. Because
I mean, I'm used to. I've been shit on before, but I've never been shit on my own show live.
Yeah, I mean, sideways dunk. I mean, just coming in there like.
Hey man, they don't call me Caleb the Great for nothing, man. I got it all figured out.
Yeah, you gotta have outstanding internet service to be Caleb the Great. So
let it fucking start raining though, by God.
You ain't lying about that. That's when it goes to doo doo, boy. Yeah. Boy, it's AT&T, so you know how that goes. Yeah. It starts raining. Woo, I'm done for.
Welcome to it. You want organic? This is what organic is, folks. I'm just letting you know that now. Apparently, Taylor's internet is bad with the rain too. So the 6033 NCDGD just said we got third and Ringo.
Just third and Ringo.
I feel hurt. Oh, I'm hurt.
At least I'm the Ringo. I'm the one pick sixing y'all.
Yeah.
I'm Dan Jackson. I took every bit of that. For what?
Oh yeah.
For what? To help Caleb.
We just got posterized.
All right, I got to focus, guys. Let's get back on track here. With that being said, right, Caleb Downs is another name that I'm curious to see. Right, I think I'm not as confident with him at Georgia than say Ohio State. I think it's Bama, Ohio State, and Georgia. But in my opinion, I think you have to watch out for Ohio State there. I think it's Ohio State and Georgia, even in that order, but ever so slightly. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Caleb Downs? He's another Georgia kid right now. Obviously, his brother plays at UNC up here in Chapel Hill. Uh, you know, he's another kid, man. He's another kid that I feel like he's a must-have in this class if you're Georgia, right? Like we said the same thing about Arch Manning, but I think in regards to positions of need at Georgia, he is the go-to target you have to have because of the safety position. Um, Juan, what say you on that subject, my man?
I mean, he is. He's a must-have. He's a coach's kid. You know, his dad now is one of the coaches at East Tennessee State, and instinctually, he's outstanding. You look at it. Yeah, you look at his brother, who they always just say it's the younger brother that always wants to be better than his older brother. But and he's he's big talk in the draft. Going in there maybe a first rounder. So that just goes to show you that Caleb, has an opportunity to go and play anywhere. Whereas Josh, had an opportunity to go. I think his biggest one was UNC. So, you can definitely believe he wants to outdo his brother, and he wants to prove himself. And where else is he going to prove himself other than a Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State? And if you have a guy like that, it's a must-have on your team. And also, too, if I were him, I'm looking at Georgia's secondary. We don't have we don't have big name guys. So it's almost like, man, if you don't have all those big name guys, I'd love to go have an opportunity to go and try to steal a spot. So, like I said, hopefully it'll be one of those things that, it's something that he falls in love with. He's just, talk with a couple of guys, and a lot of them, like I said, a lot of them roll in packs. So, hopefully he's in with a pack of guys that are some big time Georgia fans.
Hopefully. Michael here says Caleb Downs is just like the Arch recruitment, very quiet. Very, very quiet, and that's 100% fact because nobody really knows where he's going as of today, right? You just one of those things where you have to feel confident, and what happens, right? You just know I did my best. Pat on your back, I did my best. Move on, right? You just hope that he lands with you. But like I said, and Taylor Report says Georgia needs safeties in this recruiting class. Aguero and Downs will be huge, no doubt about that. I love what Malachi is going to be bringing, right? But we're going to be dangerously thin after this upcoming season because you're losing Chris, you're losing, I would probably say Dan as well. You're losing Tyke, right? Potentially, I think it's something you've got to hit. You've got to hit, and you've got to get the right guys. And Taylor Report also asked, what does official visits look like right now? I'm not sure. I think he already took a couple. I have to, like I said, he's so quiet. It's kind of like you don't even really know at this point, if that makes sense. So, as more things come out, I'll probably just hit up on social media and find out and stuff. But as of right now, I can't even say. I don't even know, to be honest. I feel like he said a couple, but I don't know what's left. Any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap this thing up on the recruiting class, where we stand right now? Actually, wait, I'm going to do this before we hit up our final thoughts. It is oh my God, what a time to be a Dog fan. Because if I'm not mistaken, your enemies down in Gainesville today had their recently hired head coach write basically an apology letter almost, telling fans to calm down because of recent crystal balls. Jaden Rashada got crystal ball to Miami, right? He was supposed to commit this Sunday, actually, this past weekend. Pushed it back to Sunday and took a Miami official. They need a quarterback, right? They get it. I feel like that poverty program is down so bad right now. ASPCA can't even save them. They can't. It is June, and you're crying and almost basically asking him to get fired because it's June and over some crystal balls, fam. Tell me you're a poverty program without telling me you're a poverty program.
I'm gonna tell y'all something too. I think Florida's got a chance to be another upset because I think Georgia's still got a chance at Kermani. I think Georgia's beating his door down. I think low key Georgia can steal Kermani, and that's gonna really make them crumble.
The problem is it's not even Georgia doing it. A lot of people don't realize just how much of an impact the arch domino effect is going to have. And guess who's about to feel it? Florida. Cedric Baxter is another one. Think about that. That's a huge one. All hyped on him. All hyped on him. Nothing. Let's see. So someone says apparently a recruit's dad said he forgot which one. Taylor Report is telling me, saying Florida's not committed to recruiting like the bigger programs. He said he had to look up the screenshot. But my thing is this: you come in, Billy tells you to be patient, but your fan base is already basically with pitchforks and shit trying to burn down the house. What the hell's going on? Like, can anybody explain to me, whether you're in the comments, Juan or Caleb, why you have a first-year head coach? Why are you this upset so soon?
I think a lot of it is jealousy, man. I mean, they're looking at their biggest rival just dominating college football. I mean, we've been at the pinnacle of college football the past 5 years, and we just smacked them around for 4 of them. They got lucky in 2020. If we play that game again, I think we'd have whooped them. I'm telling you. At the end of that season, we'd have beat Florida. I think they just look at Georgia and they want what we have, and they're not on that level. Like you said earlier, there's levels to this, and they ain't on it. And I think that bugs them. Like, I get Florida fans coming in my chat all the time, just, it's gonna take y'all another 42 years. I was like, dadgummit, bro, y'all ain't won one in about 15 now. Y'all better catch up. I was like, y'all ain't beating us for a while. Y'all may slip up here and there, but Georgia owns this rivalry, and I think they're seeing what Georgia's doing, Alabama's doing, LSU even, in the past 3 years, and they want to be there, but they're not. I think that's their problem. Like, fans are, as a big Georgia fan, I was the same way when Alabama was winning or when Auburn was winning. Like, I wanted that, but I don't think they understand what all goes through it. And like this, the Taylor Report said, man, I don't think Florida's as committed as these recruits as a Georgia or an Alabama or an Ohio State or somebody like that is, and it's showing.
I have a message for you, Florida fans. Billy Napier has showed you progress, right? He showed you progress. Look at me. Y'all know what recruiting season is now, okay? You have progressed to understand what recruiting season is. You didn't have that with Dan Mullen. You already make progress. Small steps. Crawl before you walk. I know that's hard for y'all, but damn.
And know your
Rudes.
role.
Rude said, I'll say is, how do you lose a fan base as a head coach before the season even starts?
I think I need to put this shirt. I say this so much, I feel like I could put it on a shirt and sell it for merch, but unrealistic expectations. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. That is the reflection of that term. Simple enough. Simple enough. Just leaving it there. Listen, I know there's some Gator fans out there that are rational. You just letting it ride. I get that. Still hate you because you pull for Florida, but nonetheless, I respect you a little bit more. But y'all's fan base is letting y'all down so bad right now. Most of it is letting it down so hard.
Yeah, they want an instant fix, but just like the Taylor Report said, they have a fan base that's gone through 3 head coaches, and they weren't good. Like Muschamp, thank goodness he's back at Georgia doing some things, but he was not a good head coach. He just was not. And then of course Dan Mullen was just of a trash compactor for them.
Yeah, Root says it best too, Juan.
I'm happy for it. Like I think it's wonderful, but for them, it's they're looking for a Superman or some type of somebody to come in there and save the day, and Napier is not a big enough name. That's just that. It's just not unless it's Nick Saban or Kirby. I promise you right now, if Nick Saban came into Florida for the next 10 years, they could go 1-12, and they'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
because they're like, okay, well, at least we've got the best of the best, and he's a big name. But the Napiers, he's just not that big.
Listen, so Rudes is done for the day. Rudes is already done for the day. We ain't even been a full hour yet, guys. My man made one laugh. Heard that melodic chuckle. His day's complete. He's done. He's packing it in. That sounds like Florida in August.
Yeah, right.
And hashtag One Fan Club. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. Juan literally has to LOL on the screen. That's the goal. This is
It doesn't
Caleb,
take much.
you're familiar with this, man. Caleb, you've been on multiple times. You know the brigade has made it their goal not only to get Juan fan club going, but to make Juan laugh.
like
Simple.
like Gator garbage.
I'm here for it. Are we toxic, folks? Let us know in the comments below. I'm here for
Oh
it.
man, that's good.
We ain't even got started talking about Auburn.
Oh yeah.
Just wait for that. Just wait
Even
for
worse.
that. Guys, we're gonna wrap this thing up before we can sit here and start doing a roast session. This is the DGD podcast, not the SEC roast session. We could be though. But first off, final thoughts on just maybe a final parting word for the Georgia fan base that's listening to this, watching this, in regards to where we stand in June.
Go
I say
Dogs, that's all I
exciting,
gotta
man.
say.
Where we stand right now, it's exciting. Georgia football is back on top. We're going to be there for a minute.
I'll tell you this. We'll wrap the show on this one. Georgia fans, don't look down to Gainesville because they're doing it exactly how you should be doing it. Okay? Simple enough. That's all I'm going to say. War Pigeons as well. With that being said, though, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. Ring the bell, guys. Dog fans, I know you do it well. Ring that fucking bell. Ring it. Get notified when we go live, Mondays and Fridays. Caleb, let people know where they can find you, my man.
I do a little gaming page on Facebook at KTG13TV. Look it up on Facebook Gaming. I talk a lot of dogs as well. I'm playing baseball right now. It is baseball season, but we'll be back to football probably about a month. So y'all be on the lookout. It's growing rapidly over there, and merch coming soon. So y'all be on the lookout for that. I'm pretty excited.
You heard that, folks. Hey, Facebook.gg-KTG13TV.
Yes, sir.
Go look him up. Facebook Gaming. Go follow. He'll ask you one slogan, one phrase. Let him hear that slogan. Let him hear
Where
that
you
phrase.
from and who's your squad?
Yes, sir. That's all you got to do. Juan, as always, Mr. Georgia Football, Mr. Throwback Thursday, hashtag fan, hashtag Juan Fan Club. There we go. Listen, my man's famous, guys. He was on the TV. He was on the TV at the parade. Reporter didn't even do her job and know who he was. It's a shame. It's a shame.
It's already out, Taylor. V18's already out, my boy.
We're talking gaming here, so if anybody plays Revamped, if you know what I'm talking about, it's a NCAA 14 basically modified version to keep it current, which, like Caleb said here, he does play it, but he's playing baseball right now.
Yeah, but
anybody's
the Taylor report can come hop on the sticks and see what it's about if he wants to. I challenge you openly.
Wait, what is this game? Is it like
so it's the old college football?
NCAA?
You remember they stopped making NCAA after
Yeah.
2014. Well, this group called College Football Revamped took the game and modernized it. They have RPOs in it. They have the new Georgia. They just actually in V18 gave them back the block numbers. They've updated everything, updated the stadiums.
Is this online?
Yeah, it's online or on PS3, so PC or PS3 or Xbox 360, whichever one you have. And it looks good. I even have my own custom KTG field at Sanford Stadium. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, I gotta get this.
Yeah, man.
So
Shoot me. Hit me in the
store.
DMs on Twitter, and I'll help you get through it. It's pretty cool, man. And I'll send you some of my videos so you can watch and look how smooth it looks. Like it looks.
We're gonna have Juan Daniels doing a road to glory, getting recruited.
That's what I need to see, man. That's what I need to see. You need to come check it out, man. It's
I am. I'm going to.
DGD Rob is on. DGD Rob was both of them were all Americans on my team last season. DGD Rob was a defensive end. He had
they don't call me
sacks.
DGD for nothing, folks.
That's right. DGD Rob was an All-American. Pat was an All-American. Led the team in interceptions. Hey, it was fun, man.
There you go. Hey, Facebook.gg/KTG13TV. Go follow Caleb, Juan. They know where they can find us on social media and DGDpodcast.com. I'm going to reiterate this because some people have short tolerance with attention spans. One final word, guys. Do not look down to your friends, or if you're your foes, I should say, in Gainesville, because they are not doing it right. Pay attention to what they're doing, because do the exact opposite, you're gonna be successful. Why do you think we are where we are? With that being said, guys, have a great day. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you back on the next episode. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Sick 'em.